to be part of it. I've been trained on this. So when they're talking about somebody is doing women empowerment index and all of that, and you are wondering, oh, they are saying time series, panel data. How is she able to do this? It's
Mm.
because I'm not just a data analyst. By the way I
Interesting.
build myself, I can even call myself a data scientist, but I can't do all.
Yeah.
So is that okay for now?
Yes, yes, I'm very pleased with the response you're giving. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I know I said four themes, but yes, I'm happy to just touch upon where this time can take us up on. But yes, I've sent them to your WhatsApp, and I'm happy to give you time to review them.
Yeah. No, I'll be looking at it here, but your thoughts, the way you say it, will help me to pick one or two things. So continue. I have it. I'm reading it here.
Okay, so basically, when I'm starting with the first question on the first bullet. When picking up papers to review for analytical purpose, what was the most efficient way of identifying the most uh, the most the 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 core thing that research is all about without getting lost in all the plenty English and grammar and theory of it.
Okay.
Because that would waste a lot of time, especially when you work in an agile type of way where things you have like deadlines to meet up with.
Okay, so the first thing, I don't want to be going because I'm recording and I don't want WhatsApp to be, I'll be checking my other phone
Okay,
to
that's fine.
answer. You see, on the aspect of how do you quickly check a paper to know where to focus on, I normally tell people, depending on what you are doing, when you have a paper, I'm sure that you have a particular topic that you are talking about and you want to
Yeah.
review. Now we have
Yes.
different review phases. It may be that you just want to know about the problem that exists. Is it about the method that they are using, which I think that is where you are looking at, right? Now the
Yes.
first thing is abstract. There's a reason for abstract, and you will see that journals these days, they will tell you what you're supposed to put in your abstract. Short introduction or the problem, then what are you working on, the objective,
Yeah.
the method will follow. How do
How,
you plan to do this, or how is the work done? Then you will now tell us results. That's four, right? What do you
yes.
find out? Then you make conclusion. Five things that they want to see in your abstract. Now, what I tell people is, regardless of what you want to review, what you want to learn about, when you pick a journal up, read
Yes.
abstract. Don't go and
Right.
start reading everything. Read abstract. This work, some people just give you short introduction, and that introduction is always in form of the problem that exists.
Okay.
Then what the work is about. When you see the objective that is well captured, you should be able to say, oh, I will read this paper, I will not read it. It's not focusing on what I'm doing. Now, when you see the objective, say, oh, this is what I want to do. They are talking about living standard of living. You know, we have different ways of measuring standard of living, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you already see the point, standard of living there, you say, I'm reading this. Now, what method did they use? You will see it in that abstract. If your focus, the kind of review that you are doing at that particular time is method, you know what you do? Skip the introduction, skip any other thing, literature review that they have done, skip the methodological aspect where they are talking about the okay, because it's method that you want to do. Go to method.
Okay.
Now, depending on what that work is about, in some research design, depending, but let's just focus on economic aspects now, social science in general. You will see people talk about the study area, or some people will say research design. That is where they will explain what, we talked about the study area, it was done in so place. These are the population that we use.
All right. Yes.
Yes, when they talk about the population, they will tell you the sampling procedure
Yeah.
used
Yeah.
for that particular work. Then after that, they will now start talking about these data analytical techniques. How did they build the model? What are the things they put in place? What make the work to be unique? If they are using a
Right.
particular method, for example, to measure standard of living, they should be able to tell you the reason. And
Yeah.
I think that is where your own work will come.
All right. So
Okay, so
mostly
this
the
person use this method, they will tell you, oh, I'm measuring poverty and I'm using unilateral because I feel this. They will tell you the advantage of using it as a unilateral poverty that they are measuring. Why for multi-dimensional poverty, they will tell you, they will say, no, you cannot just look at one single thing and just conclude that people are poor, that their
Mm.
standard of living is poor. Why don't you check whether they have electricity? Why don't you check the school? We
Yeah.
have different index. So
Yes.
you
Yes.
understand. So the answer to that is, go to if you are reviewing, read the abstract. If you notice that You will look at these are the things I tell people when you are even reading abstracts. Look at the author. Are they grounded individual? Right? I know you talk about John. I will come to that side. Look at the people. Like, are they grounded in that field? That's why you have many authors. Even if it's JJC, somebody that is writing paper for the first time, look at the group of people in that work. At least they will have professor. Do you get? At least you will see experts in that field, maybe senior lecturer, or people that it's not their first time working with publication. When was the work done? Things are changing. Is it the work that is done in maybe 1960? You can't compare it. This is 2026. Even if we are going to borrow the theory, people have worked, they modify things, right?
Yes.
So you look at when was the work done? Then what did they do? Do you get? What did they do? Because research is broad. You can't do everything. Even if it's word projects, they cannot still sample everybody. They will just bite it and say, we focus on this. So what did they do? Is it related to you? Then how did they do it? All this, you will see it in the abstract. How was the work done? Do you get? Then what is their findings? And what did they conclude on? People will talk and we find out this. What is your conclusion? Can you tell us what your conclusion is? So that is it.
Very, very enlightening and interesting to hear. Thank you very much. I think you've answered my next question. I'll ask it anyway.
Ask.
I was going to ask you how do you recommend evaluating whether a research methodology is robust enough to inform a real world index? And that's that. I mean, all what the later part of your analysis has answered it, I believe. But I'm open to hearing maybe something extra. Okay. I know you said researching on who's written the paper or the journal. I think their qualification or the number of publications will help to give more insight into that. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, and they're asking when was the work done?
Yes.
What did they do? What was their finding and what the conclusion was? Does that also help evaluate whether the research methodology is robust enough to inform a real world index or framework?
Yes, but let me now add this to it. You see all of this.
Yes.
You see all this.
Yes.
If someone that is grounded in that field should do this work, I believe you are not going to take that work to any predatory journal. Right. And it's one of the questions that you ask. When you want to look for quality papers, you will get quality paper from quality journals. I know amount of that I've received last year. Okay, that I received last year. Do you get? Not because the work is bad, but you will see the rigorous step. It is not just bring your money for publication and they will just publish it. We publish for free when we're supposed to pay like 600 and something and 6,000 euros and co. And we'll try to publish it for free. You know what we are trying to do? It will take time, a whole year. Wow. It's because you know that if that paper should enter that journal, the amount of citation that you will get from it, than for me to say, I want to publish 10, I want to publish 5 this year, back to back. People that will critique the work, even you will start doubting if you even have PhD or not. I'm serious. So you look for quality journals.
Right.
Example is when you want to download, go to Scopus. Make sure you use Scopus Index Journal. Web of Science.
How do you spell it?
SCOPUS. Yes, Scopus.
Okay.
So use Scopus. All these Taylor and France, they have good papers, quality ones. You can, if you have your system now, you can look at what you want to do. Go to Elsevier. ELSIEV. I think ER. Let me type here.
Yeah, Elsevier. Yes, you're right. Elsevier. Yeah, it's a publishing company, I think. Probably there. Yeah.
So you go to quality journals. That's where you will see. If you go to Google Scholar, you will see a lot of papers there. That is But when you are not looking for, you want to look for Q1. Google Scholar will put everything together. Yes. Everything. But if you are looking for Q1, Q2, use quality journals. That will get like Q1 is like in that particular field. They belong to at least the top
highest quality.
Yes, highest score. Yes. You see them. You see maybe like the 25%, 20 like all these 5% and co. When you see a paper like this frontier of health, frontier of sustainable food and something like that, that paper is 90%. 90.
Wow.
90 is during my promotion now. When I said Jesus, 90%. I saw the work that said Jesus. Meanwhile, you will see someone. I have a conference that is this conference we know, right? But they put it
Yeah.
in this thing. It's just 14%. 14.
Mhm.
If I take that work and I put it in Q1 journal, they will bash the work, bend it. They will tell you go and do this analysis again. They will critique it. But at the end of the day, see the point it will give me 90% instead of just laying low, getting 20% and co. Okay. So if I just have like 3 papers in Q1, I'll be having like 10 points. Than for me to go and gather 1 point, 1 point, and I will have to write 10 papers when I can easily do 3. And I will become expert. People will know them. You know these things. Okay. You know, it takes us, if you really want to be a learner, like let people critique your work. There are some things that we don't know, and we don't know that we still don't know that thing because we are not there yet. Until somebody mention that thing and say, no, you can't just say this is the reason you should do this. Some people will say they are looking for gap. It is because nobody has ever done any work in that field before. Then somebody will tell you, what if they see that there's no prospect? That's the reason they are not doing it. Why do you want to stress yourself going there? Then you begin to think till you get answer. So does that answer the question?
Oh, yes, it does. Thank you very much. And I think that's giving me insight into, there are 3 questions here, but that's giving me insight into the second question here. So I'll skip it into the next section to maximize our time, if that's okay. So in terms of, no, I'll skip this into a different question. Waiting, scoring approaches, translating. So yes, I'll go into the translating research into practice. What is your process for turning academic methods into something practical and usable in policy and or analytics environments? So how would you then pick these methodologies that have been used by these journals and structure it into something that is very practical for use for analysis? Because for example, someone might have weighted, they might have done their weighting differently and justified it in their paper, but you know, in a policy context, for example, you might need to capture, they might have used a whole different data set than is available to you. For example, from a policy and a government perspective, we would generally have better data if it's, you know, if it's going to inform policy.
Yes.
Whereas compared to someone who's done an academic research, they might not get as much data at the time of the research as you would, or their data might not be as updated as, you know, your own data. So how would you then, you know, manage their own methodology and translate it into the kind of resources you have access to and be able to build analysis from there?
Okay, I understand. Do you work with secondary data?
I work with, I don't know what secondary data is, but I work with publicly available data.
Yes, those are secondary data. So let's say that so we learn more from each other. You see, like you mentioned, you see official data. I used to tell people, but they still don't believe. And people will just think, and data, is it not the same thing? If I do a secondary and primary data means you have a question that you are trying to provide answers to. You design your own survey and you take it to people. There's always limitation. You don't have money that government will spend. You as a individual, you don't have that money. Quality data require finance.
Yes.
That is well managed, not the one they will put in their pocket. But if you are working, you are collecting data, like all these grants, they provide money for you. They will ask you, what do you want to do? That's why you see a lot of people will submit proposal for grants, even if it's academic work. I'm not talking about people that are just doing research just to graduate from school. Now, we believe in quality. If I have secondary data now, government is trying to work on, they want to look at standard of living of people in a particular country.
Yeah.
Example is when you go to this FAO, World Bank, NBS, and different countries for their own data sets. The government puts money. People will go to anywhere, and the sample size is always large.
Yeah.
You know, the higher the sample size, the higher you will get a reflection of the true situation of a thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's because people lack skill on how to handle secondary data, because it's always complex. You need skill to be able to extract what is useful to you. So if you are working with official data, I tell people I respect secondary data. And I tell people that if you have the skill, you will not be wasting money designing your own questionnaire, going to one corner because you don't have enough resources. That is what will make you to pick in a state. You will just choose like how many local governments and say you are doing research. It's good. We'll be able to provide that recommendation will stay within that locality. You can't generalize it for Nigeria. If we have let's say 36, we have 36 states in Nigeria. You now work in Kwara State. In that Kwara State, you just pick few local governments to represent the Kwara State. You can even fault some people sampling method. So these are the things you have to do when you are doing your method. You can critique and say this method, even though they are using this index, you can fault the sampling method. This only represents a state. You cannot generalize it. Do you understand? So if you have a particular work that you are doing now, that is why I have personalized class that will be able to situate everything inside. You are reviewing, you will review truly, but you fault this. This only represents a state. We cannot conclude and we cannot use it to make policy for the whole country. You know, you can talk about Nigeria as a single country. When you are talking about developing country, now you are putting them together. So in your developing country, you are sampling people, you are looking at the data available before you can make policy for developing country. You know, you are putting all of them, any country that fall under developing country. So it is important. Data is very, very essential. You see the index that is already available, maybe like standard of living. Anybody can use it. I can use it for my school. Do you get? I can look at standard of living of my school. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I can look at standard of living for my school. The index is still the same thing. And you can also fault index if you are trying to build new one. That is why we have brain. It is working. The people that develop that index too, they sat down, they look at things, they say, no, things are now changing. If you say price is what we demand, that will determine what people are going to buy, the quantity that people will buy, have you considered their location? Maybe it's even available or not. Are you with me?
Yes, that's right.
You are already building a model. If you now have one index that is not capturing location, you say, no, we need to introduce the location into this.
Interesting.
Let me also give you an example of this index of diet quality index. You know, we can use it to measure standard of living, right?
Yes, yeah. Oh, by all means, it's one of the things that I've also come across. Basically, even like measuring standard of living beyond income, you also look at things that people within the locality are doing. For example, can this household afford to enroll their children? Most households can afford to raise their children in can afford to enroll their children into extracurricular activities after school, like swimming, music, piano lessons, etc. But certain group of people now are reporting that they cannot afford that. Obviously, we'll use that as a non-income way of measuring people's standard of living. So by all means, yeah, you're right.
So you are correct. So if you are building index, you consider all of this. Now there's this index, there's diet quality index international. I use it for my PhD. Diet quality index. We have different index, but there's this one that is international index. You see, because it's international, I want to compare Nigeria with another country. And there's this index by Kim that people use. Now, if you look at Kim index, there are some food that they consume internationally in the other country that they are not what Nigerians will consume naturally. So when you want to look at that index, I restructure it and I put grain, because that is what staple food is, what Nigerians focus more on. So I restructure it where they put just cereal and they are putting all this, they are the common food, rice, this one. I have to put pounded yam, put grains, do you get, cassava flour and co into it. It is acceptable. This is me situating the index in Nigeria context. And I did my calculation, I followed the steps and everything to arrive at dietary score for Nigeria as a whole. I also broke it down into different zones that we have in Nigeria. Anybody in any country can do that. Do you get? For their own country. I can still simplify it down and now compare urban and rural. What is their index? Do you get? So have I answered that question correctly?
Yes, you have. Thank you very much. I was going to ask, with this example you gave with the food index.
Yes.
So if you're going to justify the weighting you used in relation to the actual paper, how would you then justify it? Going by the fact that these are, different localities, they have different type of foods. So
Mm.
how would you then justify weighting for how you've implemented that person's methodology into your own research work?
Okay. That is in your, you see, when you hear methodology, it is for you to explain what you have done and why.
Right.
Do you get?
So,
And
yes.
people will believe, because this is what we consume in Nigeria. I cannot just neglect what we consume and focus on what the index is saying. When they are
Mhm.
talking about grain, cereal, all those things, I know what we consume. They fall under it. These are the things that me I will put inside. You will just explain what you have done, and that is why, even if it's new concept, you will see people that will also follow you and say, I agree with this person. This is what they consume in this place. This is what they consume. So under this weight, this is what we are
Yeah.
going to use.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much. I was going to say, so are there like how can I like get better at critically reading methodology sections and separate strong designs from weak ones? Is it still embedded in the abstract, or yeah, especially when you're new to that maybe industry, how would you then be able to read a paper and say this methodology is not as robust or is not as strong?
Okay. Even if you are new, like, I wish there's something that you are working on presently that we can quickly go through. Me, I believe in visual. If you are able to see it, see what this person have done, see what it is in their reason that you will see. And we have methodological textbooks too that we use. Anything you are saying, that's why anything we are doing, we always back it up with citation.
Mm. Thank you. Yes, and at the point where I start working on that, hopefully your page is still up and running. I will definitely give you a shout because yes, your guidance will be very valuable to help with the success of my work
Yeah.
at that point when it comes. But I think the major thing I was really trying to get out of this is really how to go about structuring things in terms of the research methodology, which you've answered brilliantly, and I have something to hold on to and something to use as a guideline whenever I start reviewing papers.
Mm,
So any question I'm asking now is just for the sake of filling up our time,
mm,
but I'm happy if there's something you feel like, oh, I should also be aware of this.
yes. You see, any method you want to use, don't forget assumption. You know
Assumption.
about it, right?
Not really.
Okay. You see, there's no system that is perfect.
Oh
So
yeah,
there's
yeah.
always, for any theory that is backing up any work that you are doing, there's always assumption that they believe that this and this is in place. It is
Mm,
an assumption. So maybe when you
mm,
start the real work, you will understand, you will come across it. Don't worry. There's always assumption that under this, economics, they will say, all things being equal,
yep. So
ehen,
very
we
close.
assume that this and this is in place. So
Yeah.
assumption is very key. Any method you want to use, check for the assumption. What are we assuming?
Mm,
Then in any paper you are reading, check, or in any this thing you want to look at, you want to know if a method is robust enough.
yeah.
Transparency is very, very key. If somebody cannot explain their index to any policy maker under like
Mm,
5 minutes, you don't need to carry your book and come and say, explain to us in simple language.
mm.
Be transparent, no hidden agenda.